headquarters. It's been two years and a few months since Vijay Mallya left the country. Around the time when he was leaving the country, that he took the flight out to London, reports begin to emerge of defaults on loans and allegations of money laundering on the dues that were pending that Vijay Mallya and his company were not paying back. But before the investigative agencies could actually take any action, Vijay Mallya was out of the country. It's been 2 years since we've been trying to get him back to the country. The government has made multiple efforts to bring him back. Right now, that case stands in a UK court. Whether we can extradite him from United Kingdom and bring him back depends on the final arguments that are made next month and then what the court in United Kingdom decides. All our investigation done by Enforcement Directorate, CBI and every other agency that may have been put together and built as a case by the Indian government now will matter and will tell us whether Vijay Mallya will be sent back maybe in a month or two. Just before that, Vijay Mallya himself has decided to issue a detailed press release and unleash a massive attack on the government, on our banks, on our investigative agencies and on our media. Here are broadly the 10 points from his very, very long statement along with the letters that he put out today. He says politicians and media have accused me of stealing 9,000 crore rupees. Well, the fact is, 9,000 crore rupees is what the banks needed from his company, which he ran, and he got those loans, many of those loans, on the basis of his own guarantee. That money hasn't come back. Point number 2, he says, I've become the poster boy of the bank default. Maybe yes, but when 9,000 crore rupees go out of the system and don't come back, and when an elected representative of the upper house leaves the country and never comes back, then questions will be asked. Point number 3, some banks have also labeled me as willful defaulter. Actually, willful defaulter is a legitimate term that the banks are allowed to give to those who, while having the money, don't give it back to the bank. Point number 4, assets worth 13,900 crores have been attached by the agencies. Now, mind you, this isn't Vijay Mallya saying, I will give you 13,900 crores. He's just saying, you have my property worth 13,900 crore that you have attached. Allow me to sell some of that property to give you your money back. Well, Mr. Mallya, if you wanted to do that, why didn't you do it in the first instance instead of defaulting on the loans? If you had property worth 13,900 crore rupees, you should have used that to pay some of your employees. Point number 5, my conduct does not amount to willful default. I will go back to point number 4 and say if you had property worth 13,900 crore rupees and you have the money to live in mansions, to party like a king, to still own Formula 1 teams, then if you do not pay back the bank, there is some amount of willful default there. Point number 6, settlement offers are rejected by the banks. Yes, it is true. Vijay Mallya did make 2 settlement offers of an amount much, much lower than what he owed to the bank. And the banks obviously at that point rejected that. He says, I'm not being given an equal opportunity. Equality does exist in our country for people, I believe, who are in this country. Those who run from the law and then live in a country abroad, choosing not to face the law, have no right, absolutely no right, to demand any kind of equal opportunity. CBI and ED, he says, seem determined to frame criminal charges against me. Motivation, he says, seems to be to secure my presence in India. I'm amazed he says that, because that's exactly how any investigation and case works. You have to have the accused present for investigators to ask him questions, to build their case. You have to have the accused present for the court to decide on any case. In this case, there are more than 5 non-bailable warrants issued against this man. And he has the audacity to blame the government, the banks, the investigative agencies and the media. I wonder why he left the courts out. And last point, he says, I will pay back the dues what I owe. I don't know what is stopping him. If he has the money, why doesn't he do it now? I have no clue. So we are going to debate tonight what Vijay Mallya wants us to believe and whether there is any credence in that. Is he a fraudster or is he playing the victim card? Is he genuinely a victim of the system? Was he made the scapegoat by the government and the banks? Or is Vijay Mallya at fault for not having returned 8,000 crore rupees to the banks? Let's say good evening to our guests. Vineet Goenka, member of the Governing Council. Chris, former convener of the BJP IT cell. I've also got Ramakant Gaur, he's a lawyer with the Supreme Court. Rahul Singh, he's a policy analyst. Shailin Ranjit, the former Kingfisher employee. And Mohammad Khan, spokesperson for the Congress party. Let me go across to Shailin first and ask him. Shailin, I'm sure by now you've read in detail what Vijay Mallya had to say, not just now and whatever he said in the past 2 years. Do you think he's a victim or he's a fraudster?
Are you asking me?
Yes, I am.
All right. There's quite a bit of a delay, so I'm not getting your audio too well. Was the question about him being a victim? Is that what it was?
Yes, because he seems to suggest he is. He's been made a scapegoat and a victim. Do you agree?
Not a victim, no. He knew exactly what he was doing. I unfortunately have to believe otherwise. And I don't feel that he was a victim in any kind of form or manner. If he feels that he was made a victim of, it's something that I strongly disagree with. Sorry.
Kevin, just for Shailin Ranjit, just for the benefit of our viewers, will you be able to tell us in what capacity did you work at Kingfisher Airlines?
I was a senior instructor for cabin service training. I trained the girls.
Right. So Vijay Mallya has gone on to say that if that he had 6,600 employees at one point of time, and many of them had gone on to work with him for 20 years, 30 years. And if it was a case of not bothering about his employees, then that wouldn't have happened. It's just that he ran out of money and he couldn't do anything. Do you believe that he was fair to people whose salaries weren't then paid for months and months together?
Well, I wasn't paid for 18 months, and I'm sure there are several others who were not paid for a longer time. But that's, that's the least of our problems. If only he had to say and agree that he would take care of the people, and he showed some inclination towards that area, who knows, maybe the airline would still be functioning. It was a fine, fine airline, great people working for him. We all thought that he would would stand to his word. Fortunately, that didn't quite work out. I guess we made a mistake.
Okay, let me go across to Mohammad Khan and ask him this question. Mohammad Khan, Vijay Mallya also has very, very scathing things to say about the UPA government, which was at par the time that his airline went bust. What is your reaction to what he's saying today? Do you think he's been made a victim and a scapegoat by the current government for their benefits, or is there something at play?
Well, Vijay Mallya is a man who is currently the subject matter of several cases, one being filed by his employees who claim that he owes them several dues. This is a man who fled the country after bankrupting after presiding over a company whose finances are in enormous question today. He owes public sector banks a vast sum of money by his own admission. I think this is nothing more than an embarrassing attempt on his part to try and spin the debate or to try and inject some form of humanism in his favor. I don't think it will work, Tanvi. I personally feel, of course, if you ask me, that there has been an enormous failure on the part of our government. I was watching the press conference of Mr. M.J. Akbar today. I think there's been an enormous failure on the part of our government in handling this issue. You remember in August of 2015 when Vijay Mallya left, the BJP was in power for over a year at that time, and At that time, there was a lookout circular for him. That lookout circular was suspended for a brief period, which allowed Mallya to escape, and then it was restored. This couldn't have happened without the connivance of government officials, but till date, not a single official has been suspended, nor has responsibility for this been assigned. So in a way, the government is an accomplice to Mr. Mallya's escape, as it has been an accomplice to Nirav Modi, Mehul Choksi, and the others who left on its watch. And this has almost become a pattern.
But the government is trying to get him back. The government is fighting a tough case in a United Kingdom court. On the other hand, all of the loans were given during your government's tenure, during the Congress party's tenure. All of the loans were restructured during the Congress party's tenure. The SBI officials, as Vijay Mallya correctly claims, did lobby for his loans to be recast and did lobby for him with the finance ministry. So are you sure you can pin the full blame on the current government?
Well, Tanvi, yes, absolutely. Absolutely, because the cause of action, the crime, the cause of action arose during this government's tenure. You can't look back and say you should have been prescient to know that a crime would occur or this man's intentions were far from honest. You can't look back and say, oh, because at that point of time you were in power when loans were given to him, but the crime occurred later, you will still be held responsible. That is the worst form of debating. When you're in power, when you're in government, you carry the responsibility of investigation, you carry the responsibility of administration. And when these crimes occurred, when he fled, when the charges were filed, when the investigations began, all happened on your watch. Now, you can't say that your government should have been prescient enough a decade ago to say that this man will one day commit a crime and therefore we will look out for this. I completely agree with you that this man needs to be brought to the fullest, brought to book with the fullest extent of the law, Tanvi. But let's not confuse issues and exonerate this government. Let us not allow it to abdicate its charge.
No, I'm not exonerating government at all. And I'm sure you know that I don't exonerate anybody who must be questioned in a position of power. I am just saying let's not also exonerate your party and what you did and the rules that existed and the long rope that was given to many people by the banks and by the government in your tenure. That's all I'm saying. Ramakant Gaur, I saw him shaking his head while Mohammad Khan was making his point. Mr. Gaur, do you agree with what Mohammad Khan is saying?
Tanvi, I would request Mr. Khan to check the facts. It was in 1999 when Vijay Mallya was first summoned by the same enforcement directorate on 4 occasions and he did not appear. So this history starts in 1999 and Supreme Court handed out an exemplary penalty to Vijay Mallya in 2009 and this is a judgment of that. So you cannot say that you were clean in your tenure. So from 1999 he has been an offender. Supreme Court handed out an exemplary penalty and then what did you do? You handed him out member of parliament, Rajya Sabha. You made him member of parliament. So this is what you did.
I also put him on the parliamentary panel for the aviation industry. I mean, it's a joke.
That is also a fact.
You put people, you elect them, nominate corporates and put them in the upper house and then put them on the same industry panels where they have their own business interests. And everybody is watching this. Everybody is quietly watching this and letting it happen until one fine day, Vijay Mallya has literally sold half his business, packed up his bags, taken his money and gone to United Kingdom. I don't know if he's actually ever coming back again.
Right under the nose of investigating agencies.
Yes, I'm not too sure if Mr. Vineet Goenka can hear us right now. Is he through? Okay, Mr. Goenka, 2 questions to you. One from what Mohammad Khan said, that the current government cannot exonerate itself because even though there was a lookout circular that was suspended briefly at the time Vijay Mallya managed to get out of the country and everything happened under your watch. So respond to that and then I will ask what I wanted to.
Yeah, while I respond to him, I would like to also say that lookout notice did not bar him to go out, and that is a procedure which is followed by the officers. In case he feels that there is something wrong, one of his member of parliaments can file this, and I think there can be an inquiry done there. But I would like to continue the date which Ramakant Gaur spoke about. 2010 Congress sponsors his Rajya Sabha. 2004 he was given first loan 2008, he was given second loan. 2010, he got the third part of the loan. Now, this is not the third loan. It is basically a respite which was given to him on the instruction of P. Chidambaram ji, which was given to RBI. So, it is not only that their government, I am specifically taking name, P. Chidambaram was involved in that. It was Manmohan Singh ji was aware of this fact. So, he was also aware of this. So, Congress cannot absolve it. They gave the money. Now they are trying to tell us that yes, you allowed him to go out. He was member of parliament. He was holding a diplomatic passport. He went away when the senior counsel of Supreme Court representing SBI had actually advised SBI to file a petition. But between this, he flew out. Khan Sahab, it is a famous old saying, Ulta chor kotwal ko date. Congress trying to tell us that we allowed him to go. You have to tell why did you give him a reprehend on 2010? Why did you give him a replenishing loan? So the entire blame goes to UPA. Rather, NDA claims that we actually represented the case properly in UK. There was diplomatic efforts, there were legal efforts, and because of that, the noose around his neck has been tightening. And now he knows that in weeks to come, he will be brought back here, justice will be given to him. And that's why now he's coming out with all these kind of letters and story. Whether you would like to know 2 letters which he wrote, then we would like to bring to your notice. 21st March 2013, he wrote a letter to P. Chidambaram. Vijay Mallya also wrote a letter on 4th October 2011 to Manmohan Singh, and whereby Manmohan Singh ji obliged him by giving fuel supply credit when he did not have a single penny in Kingfisher account. Now, isn't Manmohan Singh or P. Chidambaram ji culprit of being abetting and giving him loans when they knew that he is not in a
Manmohan
position
Singh ji
to pay the money?
obliged him by giving credit?
So,
Do we
Mr.
have
Khan,
a letter?
you will have to explain.
Is there a letter that by the former Prime Minister or former Prime Minister's office? Mr. Goenka, 1 minute. I'm confused. Mr. Goenka, 1 minute. I know he wrote letters to Chidambaram and to the then Prime Minister. Did Prime Minister reply by saying, please give him what he wants? Is there a letter I am not aware of?
He obliged him, madam, not only replied, it is not replied. He obliged by giving fuel credit. You understand? Fuel credit was extended to him when he was not paying the money. It was on the instruction of Finance Minister P. Chidambaram and also MMS, Mr. Manmohan Singh. He got the fuel credit. He got the replenishing of his loan, restructuring of his loan, which cannot be done without instruction of RBI, which was instructed by then Finance Minister. So it is a clear case. And now, how did he go? I have already answered. He held a diplomatic passport till that time. When he flew out, there was nothing called as hold him up. Right now, there are 2 things. The revocation of the passport has been done. There is a lookout notice. There is a red corner notice been given. And also see the efforts. This is the first time in independent India where this kind of efforts have been taken to bring back the economical offences. And not only him, also Nirav Modi and other Sanjeev Chawla and likes of them will be brought back.
I'm glad that the government is making all these efforts to bring back Nirav Modi.
As I said,
unfortunately, of course, unfortunately, 6 nations are not listening to what we are telling them about reaction and stopping Nirav Modi, and he manages to travel from United States to United Kingdom to Belgium to Hong Kong and I don't know where all. So, best efforts have not helped so far, Mr. Goenka. That's all I'm saying. Ramakant Gaur wanted to come in. Yes, and then I will come back to you. No, there is nothing to answer. The answer will be given to me when these 2 come back to the country. That's all. That is all. That's when we will agree best efforts were made because they were successful efforts. Right now, the case for Vijay Mallya is in a court. And as far as Nirav Modi is concerned, we still don't know if he is in Belgium or United Kingdom or Hong Kong because we're given a new version every week.
Mr. Gaur wanted to say something. Comes because our people in the agencies actually are tracking him. Unlike Congress, which is abetting him.
But we are unable to stop him because he obviously has an entire shelf full of passports.
I can promise on this channel, no tolerance, 0 tolerance will be done. And also, let me point out, a director of a bank has been arrested in Pune. Now, this kind of economical offenders will be caught, be it Robert Vadra.
All right, Ramakant Gaur, yes.
Not in that happened. By the way, Bank of Maharashtra officials were arrested in DS Kulkarni case, not in Nirav Modi, not in neither in Vijay Malya's case. So let's talk.
Sir, I said economical offences. I said economical offences. Anybody.
Let's not deviate from the topic.
Whether it is this case or any other cases.
let me draw the facts for you.
I'm not debating, I'm just educating
Okay, let him make his point, Mr.
What
Goenka.
Congress did and what
Mr.
my
Goenka,
government
let
is
him make
doing.
his
And
point.
have a
I
right
also
do
have
that,
to
sir.
go across to Rahul Singh.
I have a
then.
right to do that.
Ramakant Gaur.
I can also educate people that
So, yes,
this is the
Mr.
first
Goenka,
government which brought
you-
in amendments for PMLA.
Mr. Goenka, please check your facts.
Let
It is
Congress
not
come
that.
out with the position of
How
PMLA.
came, at least I can tell you better than you on PMLA. So PMLA was delayed by both the governments, by BJP and by the Congress as well. PMLA was to come in 1995. It
Sir,
came in
amendment is
2002.
introduced as a
The amendment,
finance
last amendment came in
act by us,
2013.
sir.
Please
Ramakant
check your
it is
facts.
introduced 2002, it was
Please,
NDA
no.
1, 2012 it is. Sir, 2002 one was NDA 1 and now when it has been introduced again in 2018, it is NDA 2. With that too with the Finance Act, sir. That shows our commitment, sir.
No, you better. No. It's very simple. It's very simple. When you allow a man like Nirav Modi to get away with 13,000 crores, 15,000 crores, I don't even know what the latest figure is for that scam.
So now,
then you better have a law to get him back. And you better get him back because it's the taxpayers' money.
You can't just catch anybody and everybody.
You allowed him to get away with it at the first instance. That's also has to be taken note of, and I don't know what action is being taken against those bank officials. The regulators and the government at this point of time seem to be giving a long rope to the same bank. PNB comes out and says, "Oh, we weren't at fault. It's just a branch problem," and we have bought that excuse.
They will be arrested.
And we've bought that excuse that it's just one branch which is at fault here.
No?
Coming back to the point, Rahul Singh, where do you stand on
there
this
is only
debate?
one
Vijay
officer
Mallya
there,
wants
sir,
us
he
to
will be
believe, Vijay
There
Mallya
is
obviously
very
wants the
officer.
UK court
There
to
is nothing
believe
which was
that
not
he's
in
being
this
made
court, it
a
will be
victim,
arrested.
that
But
he's
this
being
cannot
made a
absolve
poster
Congress.
boy
Tanviji, you'll
of
have
the
to see
bank
who is the
defaults.
larger criminal. But does P. Chidambaram get absolved because of that?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
Does
this
Manmohan
is...
Singh
So
get
have you
absolved?
prosecuted
By all
P.
means,
Chidambaram
go
in this
after
case?
Mr.
One
Chidambaram
second.
and go
Have
after
you
Manmohan
prosecuted P.
Singh. By
Chidambaram?
all means, do that. You are the government in power.
You
You're the
did
party
not
in
file any
power.
prosecution
Please
against
go
them.
ahead and book P. Chidambaram if you think he
are
did
simply
some
We
wrong.
will do
making
that,
accusations.
We will do that. And
Yes,
that's why
please
you
do.
see-
4
that's
years
why
are
he's
done.
reacting.
When?
This is because
Okay,
of the
Rahul
efforts
Singh,
of
Rahul
Modi
Singh, please.
government and
Let him make his
Bhajan.
opening comments.
He
Let him
knows
make
that
his
he will be
opening
brought
comments.
back
I
in
will
days
come
to
back
come.
to you. Yes, Rahul Singh.
And that is worrying Congress. That is worrying
do
the first
you
family
agree
of
with
Hold
Vijay
on.
Mallya when he says he's been made a victim by the government and the banks and that the CBI and the ED are acting at the behest of the
Not at
government?
all. I mean, a person cheating the nation, it's all tax authorities and the government is saying that I'm being made a poster boy for, you know, all the actions I have taken in because government wants to create a good story out of me. That's, I think I would go little, negative and say that's a very stupid statement. He is writing 6 pages later to Prime Minister. Should he write to Prime Minister or to the tax authorities or the ED offices and so on? PM is not accusing. It is these offices which are accusing him. I mean, let's not create a culture where all these guys who are taking 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 and 35,000 like Bhushan Steel, and they come out with an open statement saying that we have been made culprit. You know, you are ruining our image. You have ruined the whole economic system. You are challenging the economic system. You are benefiting out of the taxation money. So don't come up with these kind of statements. I mean, I think they should be behind the bars. Something what happened to Sahara should happen to all these people. There is some lapse why these 2-3 professionals have run away from this country. I think government is trying, but they should try hard to bring these people back, including Lalit Modi, who went quite early. But I'm not feeling very comfortable with this kind of statement where a person like Mallya is using Government of India logo and writing chairman of UB Group. This is not done. And you can understand how this person is trying to be taking over on his actions and accusing government that you are taking benefit out of me. Okay. So I completely disagree. I think this is completely
Vijay
wrong.
Mallya also says in his statement that the public sector banks are vigorously pursuing me personally for recovery due to my purported personal guarantee and the purported guarantee given by United Breweries. for Kingfisher Airlines. The media, various political personalities, the government agencies are accusing me personally of having stolen or diverted funds, which is wholly correct. It's not actually the media, because the SEBI has come out with a ruling where it has actually barred Vijay Mallya from trading in the security markets. This happened in January. Mallya was barred for alleged violations of listing agreement, diversion of funds and fraud. So I think Vijay Mallya needs to get his facts right. But here is my question. He says public sector banks are vigorously pursuing me. He also says he's offered 4,000 crore and then 4,400 crores a year and a half ago. Do you think the banks should have taken that offer? Because right now they're struggling to get even that much money back. Rahul Singh?
No, it's not at all. I think banks will struggle otherwise to get the rest of the money. You know, you remember the Bhushan Steel case? This was a 25,000 crore loan which banks wanted to settle to, you know, not to show the NPAs. They gave 26,000 crore, so that 25 is settled and the Bhushan Steel has another 1,000 crore. And this got repeated. So if you allow these evasers escape one time, they will keep repeating these mistakes, or they will keep cheating. So I think it is not that banks should have accepted. They did it right. They had to go with the right kind of due diligence process, and other government agencies need to pitch in, which later on happened. The lapse is not from the PSU's bank. They are already facing the... India became one of the largest NPA economy because of the public sector banks. It is in the top 5 of the world. 5th is India, only from the banking sector contribution, right? Spain is number 1, where economy has failed. You are hoping, you are waiting for India to fail as an economy.
So whose fault is that?
You know, we are saying that.
Mohammad Khan, whose fault is that?
Of course, the whole system, the banking system.
All these companies and their loans that have turned into NPAs now, and we are being told by the RBI now that the NPA, the non-performing asset or the bad loan situation, is actually going to get worse now. Most of these loans were taken during the tenure of the Congress government. So who's to be blamed?
Tanvi,
we are
if
making
the banking system
a slight mistake here.
Having political
one minute, gentlemen. The question was to Mohammad Khan of the Congress party, please. Yes, Mr. Khan.
Yeah,
sorry.
Tanvi, I have a couple of points to make also to respond to Vineet Goenka ji. But first, I'll answer your question. Look, there were several private airlines at the time. There was Indigo, there was SpiceJet, there was Jet Airways, and all of them carry a lot of debt on their balance sheets. And they pay off that debt. They service that debt, they pay off that debt, and these are fully functional companies that in fact turn a profit for their investors. Kingfisher Airlines was an exception, and one of the reasons cited, if you read the oppression and mismanagement petition filed, is due to the bad policies implemented by the management. Now, it would be selective of you or incorrect of anyone to say that, look, Congress gave loans, etc., which is absolutely complete rubbish.
Why?
And then say that, therefore, you guys have some shoulder to blame.
Why? If you didn't manage to run a tight ship when it comes to the banking sector, should I not question you? Especially when it comes to the state banks, which are owned majority by the state.
Asked us the question, if we were in power today and we failed to investigate and get the money back, you could have, of course, done. We held us accountable, as you should have, if we were in power today and we failed to perform our duty. But I have something to say to Mr. Vineet Goenka. Mr. Vineet Goenka, who is my friend and I know is too smart to believe what he himself put forth. I want to say 4 things to you. I listened very patiently to what you said without interruption, because that is the tone and tenor of this debate. I have 4 points to make to you. You made an accusation against the Prime Minister and Mr. Chidambaram that because they gave special concessions to these people, you have letters to prove it. So let me tell you, between 2011 and 2012, aviation policy of our country, and anyone who's watching this can go and verify, had a cash and carry system, which meant that you had to pay for the fuel that you took. In fact, Kingfisher Airlines was denied credit because they were carrying so much outstanding loan. They had to pay immediately for the fuel they took. So, sir, I think this particular fact of yours is incorrect. Number 2, the lookout circular point is particularly important, sir, because Mallya leaves well into your tenure. You are in government. A lookout circular is issued by government. No private authority can levy it. If it is removed, it happens on your watch. And you have till date not hauled up those people. You said, why is this not raised in Parliament? Very good point, Mr. Goenka. It was raised in Parliament as a question. Till date, we are waiting for an answer as to who is responsible for this, sir. It is an admitted fact. It is not speculation. It is not hypothetical. It is an admitted fact that the LOC was suspended. He went and the LOC was restored. Connivance at the highest levels. Number 3, Mr. Goenka, you unfortunately fall prey to the BJP playbook of blaming the Congress. Sir, the reason I let you go on about blaming the Congress is because the nation sees this. The nation is fatigued. You and your party's obsession with the Congress is driving you to a path of where your legacy will be decided by the fact that 4 साल इन्होंने सिर्फ कांग्रेस का डंडोरा पीटा. Sir, I have one last thing to say to you.
Okay. One by one. I will forget, even if Mr. Vineet Goenka doesn't forget, I will forget what all he has to respond to Mr. Mohammad Khan. Hold on a minute. Let your dear friend respond to the allegations and points that you've made. But I will disagree on the last point that I heard you make, which is about questioning or putting the blame on the Congress, because in this specific case, I do believe that the BJP has a point. Nobody can deny the fact that during your government's at least second tenure, your party's second tenure as UPA 2, that was the system. Reach out to the minister, go to the ministry, meet them, speak to them, lobby, get your loans recast. One after the other. And for the longest time, my speciality at that point was debt restructuring of corporates. I've done enough research to say that this has happened in many cases, where multiple cases there were red flags and those companies should have never been given those second chances, but the banks did that. Either the bank officials are not afraid of you guys, are not afraid of being accountable, so they did it at their own, by their own choice.
That's not tied directly to Nirav Modi, Mehul Chokshi and Vijay Mallya's case. No. What you're talking about is NPS, and that's a separate debate in itself.
What I'm talking about is the banking sector being run as a tight ship so that this money would not have gone out. For us to now sit and question the BJP, which we will, to say, how did you let this money go out? Mr. Goenka, your turn to respond to what Mohammad Khan said.
No, we must question them, Tanvi, because this happened on their watch.
Yes,
and
we must. I agree with you on that.
Answer.
Mohammad Khanji, as I gave out dates and the names of the people, I'm also giving you one more date. In 2010, there was a Hong Kong trip been made by one of the officers of Congress. She went there totally sponsored by Vijay Mallya. 2012 also defends Vijay Mallya on Twitter by saying he's a nice and a genuine person. I hope you know she is Divya Spandana right now handling your social media. Now you see, right from P. Chidambaram down till somebody who's handling social media, everybody is on the payrolls.
Sir, Mr. Lalit Modi was given a character certificate by your Chief Minister
so you have
of
to
Rajasthan.
accept one thing, there was a convenience. You went ahead, broke all the laws, you paid money from these banks, which was actually taxpayers' money, and now you're trying to say that if we are blaming you, we are going to put zero tolerance for all these economical offences. And you see the efforts done by Bharatiya Janata Party. That's why there is GST, so that people don't run away. We have faced flaxes for GST, but we'll implement that. Demonetization, we are going to face flaxes, but we did that because we wanted to end this money. Shell companies been booked. Shell directors been booked. Non-compliance of Dean, all were booked. This is done only on BJP. FCRA on NGOs. Now this is the bills which have been brought for tightening of the accounts. Aadhaar linking, this is all efforts by this government to not allow this kind of things to happen. Mr. Mohammad
But वो तो भाग गए पैसा लेके विनीत गोयनका जी, अब आप रूल्स बनाते रहिए.
Manmohan Singh was a non-performing prime minister.
अब तो आप रूल्स बनाते रहिए, लेकिन Vijay Mallya and after Vijay Mallya, not learning any lessons from Vijay Mallya, we allowed Nirav Modi to get out of this country. What good are these laws now?
No, ma'am. No, nobody allowed. Nobody allowed. Please, let's.
We can't even get Nirav Modi in one country. He's jumping from one country to the other. We don't even know how many passports he has today.
He has a right to go.
And you're telling us that this government is intolerant of economic offenders.
2,000-page dossier. This is the first time this kind of extradition efforts have been made. Ms. Tanvi, allow me to speak for 10 seconds. Please, my request to you. 2,000 pages of dossier to extradite. Evidences been sent to UK. This is the first time. First time the Prime Minister UK also has acknowledged there have been efforts. The banks, the courts there have acknowledged. So understand why he's Vijay Mallya now saying about letters and all this kind of thing, and why is Congress trying to defend him? Because if he comes back, P. Chidambaram gets exposed. Because if he comes back, Manmohan Singh's role will be exposed.
Okay. Okay,
And
I'm going to go
Mohammad Khanji.
across. I'm going to go across to
Badra,
some of our
Badra,
viewers
saying that
who also want to share their view on this. Anandan is on the phone line calling us from Delhi. Anandan, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, go ahead.
Doing
Please.
the me.
Good evening.
See, here we talk about always the loan amount of 9,000 crores. It happened a couple years ago. What about the interest? Each day we have to have some money as interest. If I fail to make one installment on my home loan, and they're going to put in so many interest on me, like Kisan loan or any loan. So what about the interest?
Right. Well, the original amount actually was roughly about 5,500 crore rupees. Interest accrued over the years has taken it to 9,000 odd crore rupees. You're right. In some cases, it may be more now. As Vijay Mallya also says that because you don't allow me to repay it, the interest is going to keep going up. He's also made another point, which is to say that 13,000 crore worth of property of mine has now been attached by Enforcement Directorate and other agencies. So the question is then, will we get the money back via these properties? I'm not too sure. I'm going to go across to Shailin Ranjit at this point of time and ask him this question. Shailin Ranjit, bit of a war going on here between the Congress and the BJP on who's really accountable. Do you believe, though, that government policies and the way our banking sector functions is also to be blamed for the situation that we find ourselves in today?
Thank you for coming back to me, Tanvi. To answer your question shortly, both governments, the one that was in power, the one that is in power, are equally to blame. You know that, I know that, everyone knows that. Let's not beat about the bush. Trying to score brownie points is not going to do you any good. We know exactly what happened. The former aviation minister sold out aviation to the world. He just sold out the aviation that we have in this country to everybody else. I mean, to think about it, I mean, I don't want to get into the politics of it all because it's sickening. But to have an alien air carrier as the de facto national carrier of this country is sickening. So that was in the previous dispensation. What have we done this time around? Not very much. We're still waiting about, we're still wondering about whether to bring fuel in under GST. I mean, that's ridiculous. So both governments are to blame. But do I favor one or the other? Yes, I do. I favor the present dispensation only for the simple reason that they are trying to do something and they're showing that something is being done. Unlike the previous dispensation, which did really nothing. So the same, Dr. Mallya had the same kind of excuse prior, where he said, all my money is tied up and my money is frozen. I can't pay you, the employees. It's the same thing around. What's new? Honestly, what's new?
What is new? I agree with you. And I think even Mr. Mallya perhaps thought that he is going to get the same kind of response from the current establishment as perhaps he did with the previous establishment, which is why he wrote that letter talking about the great achievements of him and his business. And he wrote this letter to Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2016, and he assumed that he will be given some kind of fair hearing, as he says it. I just want to point this out to our viewers. This letter was written to Prime Minister Narendra Modi and to then Finance Minister Arun Jaitley in April 2016. By then, Vijay Mallya had already gone and was not showing any signs or any intention of coming back to the country. But he says in this letter, I left India as scheduled on March 2nd to attend to my commitments as an international businessman, and this has been misconstrued as deliberate. Jaya is on the phone line calling us from Mumbai. Jaya, good evening. Good to hear from you after so long.
Yes, good evening. Unscrupulousness and unabashedness. Thy name is Vijay Mallya. His actions are criminal in the sense that he was responsible for ruining families in KFA. Some committed suicide, unable to bear the trauma because of his failure to pay his employees' salary. He took full advantage of his Rajya Sabha membership, fled with the intention of never returning, that which is obvious even to a child. When he has huge properties around the world, could not he have siphoned the profits of his other companies and sold some of his other properties? But with the legal advice, he's crying aloud as being bankrupt. What a big joke. He's a looter. He's not a victim. He also hoodwinked the government of India and fled, and the bank consortium gave him loans in spite of huge debt because he had the government as a bolster. What moral authority does he have to talk today?
Well, I think he's just catering to the courts and authorities in United Kingdom right now, because those are the people who are going to decide whether Vijay Mallya can now come back to India or continue living and enjoying his life in London. Thank you, Jaya, for calling us. Prakash on the phone line from Vijayawada. Good evening. Go ahead, please.
Good evening. Hello, madam. Can you listen to me?
Yes, we can. Just mute your television so that we can hear you better.
Yeah. Can I?
Yes.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say these two governments are playing. The BJP blaming Congress and the Congress blaming BJP. And ultimately, the fellow who has taken money and enjoying all the benefits on the other countries. And it is government is not taking care of it. This kind of political system is spoiling this democracy in India. So more and more this kind of people will come up if government will not take any action against this kind of people. So this evening I urge all the people in the debate and the government also take necessary steps to do the needed things. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for calling in. Vineet Goenka, Vijay Mallya says 13,000 crore worth of his assets have been attached. Does that mean that we are going to get the money back, or are there a lot of hurdles and legalities that will come the way of the agencies? Can they actually recover money from these assets?
Well, the procedure is very simple. Once somebody defaults and there is a case, and there are agencies which investigate, whether there are police organization or other organizations which investigate, that is ED and CBI both are investigating. Now they will probe and they will submit their report, their charge sheets to the court, and court only is the agency or the institution which can tell or give him some relief. Now there is nothing which can come from any government. Now he can write as many letters he wants, but it is court which will do the justice to him. And as far as my personal opinion goes, we don't have to bother about what he wants to write now. We should just bring him back. We will bring him back, give him a justice. The money will be recovered by selling his property, attaching his property, but at the same time, he should be also booked and put behind the bars. Because it's not only about money, it's about the fraud which he did. And frauds cannot be purchased. So he would be given a justice, he will be brought back, money will be recovered from his assets. If he has other assets which are been hiding and which we don't know, that will be also recovered from him. And also P. Chidambaram and all his accomplices in Congress will be booked.
Ramakant Gaur, do you believe that the way the things are placed right now, we are going to get that money back and Vijay Mallya?
See, Vijay Mallya has given us an insight that why you are hitting me alone. He had certain accomplices. Leave apart the political names which Mr. Goenka is trying to portray. There must be certain people who were there in the connivance who have abetted this crime, because this is a case where certain documents were forged to obtain the loan. So the loan was granted by using the fraudulent documents. This forgery cannot be done by Vijay Mallya alone. What happened is they have not investigated till this moment, till 16th of June 2018, that who else was involved in the entire fiasco. One. And I'm saying on the basis of a complaint filed by them on 16 June before a Bombay court, where Vijay Mallya is the only accused, and his address is shown as that one of Goa, not of London. So they don't have his address even today. This is the kind of prosecution we are laying down today. This is not happening in Congress, BJP or whatever it is. The kind of prosecution what Enforcement Directorate is pursuing is really bad. One. Two, if you have not come to any conclusion as to who else were the accomplices in this crime of creating fraudulent documents and obtaining loan, then the investigation is really bad. Third is, if you start any investigation, Tanvi, which is involving 1 crore, 2 crore, 5 crore, 10 crores, what they do is they seize the passport. They take the passport away. Even in this case, passport was taken away, but it was given back. This is a matter of record. Now, if you do not seize the passport, you do not restrict their movements, then they are bound to fly away. You have given an opportunity, and I am not accusing any political party. I am saying that against the investigating agency.
So once that happened,
the investigation is really short.
So once that happened with Vijay Mallya, why didn't we fix that problem, Mr. Goenka, so that Nirav Modi couldn't get out?
No, once he left the country, then they initiated MLAT proceedings, which they knew were meaningless.
You don't fix
exactly. I'm saying, why did we allow it to happen again?
That's why PMLA Amendment Act was. No. So to not allow anybody of any type, be it Vijay Mallya, be it Nirav Modi or any other people like Robert Vadra, that's why PMLA was brought in. Amendment of PMLA was brought in, and these PMLA amendments.
I want to comment on Robert Vadra. I want to comment on Robert Vadra.
No, I don't want to go down the Robert Vadra lane right now. No, please. We will discuss Robert Vadra the day they actually file something concrete with any of the courts and the investigation goes somewhere, then we'll discuss Robert Vadra. Mohammad Khan?
Tanvi, I've been waiting for my turn.
But don't talk about Robert Vadra.
Yeah, Tanvi, I have two things to say. No, I'll stay on topic. There are two things I'm noticing happening in this debate. One is that there is this narrative sought to be created by the BJP, as on every debate, that haul the Congress over coals. It is the Congress's responsibility, etc., and exonerate us. Don't look at what we've done. Don't look at how we've mishandled the situation, but look at what the Congress is doing.
Overlook
I want to
that,
say two
Mr.
things.
Khan.
The first is this. Mr. Goenka said that the matter is now in the courts. Sir, I didn't interrupt you. I never interrupted you. You listen to me. Now, you say that you have faith in the courts and the court process. So the court process has been initiated for 4 years now, 3 actually, and all under your watch. The prosecutors are yours, the lawyers are yours, the investigating agencies are yours. Congress has nothing to do with this. We are in the opposition. We have no resources to be a part of this process. Now, you have suffered setbacks one after the other over the last 3 years, despite Modi ji going and personally talking to the Prime Minister by your own account. Can you tell me what is the next step? You'll say we can't tell you, we don't want to disclose our legal strategy. We wish you the best of luck, but clearly you have a track record of failure. Number 2, sir, you are clearly sending the wrong messages, and I don't understand why anyone exonerates you for this after Mallya. One could have said, "Dekho, inhone apna sabak seekh liya."
Okay, so that's the question I asked. That's the question I asked. Let him respond, please. Running out of time, Mohammad Khan.
Yes, the guy stands with our Prime Minister in a photograph, and then he runs away.
And then he gets away with 13,000 crore rupees. Most of those letters of MOUs were signed during 2017 and 2018. Okay, answer Vijay Goenka, and then we wrap up.
Exactly.
Very simple, in one line. In days to come, you will see Vijay Mallya here behind bars. And this is commitment of this government. And Mr. Khan, also P. Chidambaram will face the same flag.
And Nirav Modi, Lalit Modi.
अच्छे दिन आएंगे.
Lalit Modi is
of course, all of them, ma'am. All of them. It is even... See,
15 lakh रुपए भी आ जाएंगे विनीत भाई.
Everybody is an economical offender or a criminal offender.
Completely out of time. We genuinely hope, jokes apart, this is very serious. Thousands of crores of money has gone out of the system. Taxpayers' money, and we want accountability. Vineet Goenka tonight is giving us commitment that within a month or 2 maybe, Vijay Mallya will be in India and behind bars. To viewers and to Vijay Mallya, here are some of the investigations that are being conducted. Like I counted already, SEBI has already given an order barring Vijay Mallya from trading in security markets for violations that I listed out earlier. We also have Enforcement Directorate that is investigating charges under Prevention of Money Laundering Act. We have the CBI that is also investigating cases of loan default and whether there was any cheating and wrongdoing there. We have the Serious Fraud Investigation Office that is investigating the case whether or not Mallya's company inflated the value of their brand to get away with it. We also have EPFO that is investigating a case, Income Tax Department, Service Tax Department. There are at least 5 non-bailable warrants against Vijay Mallya issued by courts from Mumbai to Hyderabad. The employees haven't been paid their salaries and have repeatedly gone to court. The Comptroller and Auditor General of India says that Kingfisher Airlines caused a loss of 290 crores to the Airport Authority of India. There are several other creditors who haven't been paid their money back. I can go on and on with a list of things that Vijay Mallya and his company are being investigated for. The fact is, all of this is just investigation and no concrete finding. But that only happens when Vijay Mallya, the key accused in these cases, comes back. So the king of good times can sit and cry all he wants about being made as the bad boy or the poster boy when it comes to loan defaults. But the fact of the matter is that that is what has happened because of the way his company and he handled this situation. And instead of sitting there and crying, why doesn't he come here and face the music, face the law, face the agencies, give them your evidence, show that you're innocent and clear your name, rather than crying conspiracy, conspiracy, conspiracy every few months, hoping that somebody will hear you and buy that argument. Out of time on this edition of Last Word. Thank you so much for joining us.